In the previous videos, we saw how to create an account on the Amazon cloud and also how to create our first virtual machine instance. In this video, we will see how to enable some basic security measures for the virtual machine we have created. Our plan includes two actions. First, we will enable a firewall. Having a firewall in place will allow us to expose specific ports to the internet, only for the services that we are interested to provide. Blocking the ports is essential for securing our system against attacks. Setting up a firewall in Linux can be a complicated task. Fortunately, in Ubuntu we have a program available that is called Uncomplicated Firewall that can turn this process into a piece of cake. Second, we will create our own user along with its own key pair file and set up the system so that we can log in with this user. Let's continue from where we stopped at the previous video. I'm going to connect to my virtual machine. As a reminder, from the AWS console we choose the EC2 service and then the instances screen. From there we can see our virtual machine and the state that it is in at the moment. If it's not running, possibly it is stopped, you have to start it again. To do this, you select the virtual machine and then from the actions you choose instant state start. Now, in order to connect again, we copy the IP address to the memory of the computer and we will switch now to our terminal. To connect to my virtual machine, as I did in the previous video, I will type the following command: ssh-i, and then I will type the file name of the key file that I downloaded from the Amazon service when I created the virtual machine. In my case, that is my downloads folder, and then the file name. Subsequently, I will type the username that I will use to connect at the moment, which is Ubuntu, and then the IP address of the virtual machine. Okay, and now we're connected. The first thing that I'm going to do is to download the latest updates of the operating system. In order to do so, in a Ubuntu Linux system, we type the following commands: sudo apt update. Fine. And this downloaded the latest index of the updates, and now we will have to download the actual updates. For this we type sudo apt upgrade. Yes. Our next step is to enable the operating system firewall. The command that controls the firewall is called UFW, which is a shorthand of Uncomplicated Firewall. We can type the following command to see if the firewall is running at the moment: sudo UFW status. As we can see, our firewall by default is in inactive state. However, we cannot simply activate the firewall. Before we do that, we have to make sure that we allow connections from the SSH service that we use. If we don't do that, we will lock ourselves out of our virtual machine. So before we activate it, we have to type the following command to activate connections to the port 22 using the TCP protocol: sudo UFW allow 22/TCP. Now we are ready to enable our firewall. To do this, we type sudo ufw enable. And as we can see, our firewall is now active and enabled on system startup. We can again execute the first command to see whether our firewall is now active. Sudo ufw status. We can see that our firewall is now active. We can test this by logging out and logging in again. To log out, we type the command exit, and then we will repeat the connection command. We can see that we can connect, and once again we will check the status of the firewall. Sudo ufw status. Perfect. Our firewall is running and we can connect from the SSH service.